That barking at cars, my sister's dog also does. I took it for a walk one day. I didn't realize it, but I was coming off of a lane, so to speak, and onto the main road, and cars were going by, and the dog was almost apoplectic. And I figured, oh my gosh, I just can't endure this. I mean, it was up on two legs, you know. Yeah, it was a biped. It went from a quadruped to a biped. So you feel you can treat a dog that does something that egregious?
I can if I've got some buy-in from the client.
Okay.
I mean, I could come in and I can train somebody's dog, but I'm not necessarily living with that dog. And so there has to be some transference of what I'm talking about, and there's got to be the follow-through on that client's part.
Now, that's kind of where I was going. You need that other part of the puzzle to work with you.
Yep.
Am I correct? So it's not somebody just flipping you the keys, you know, here's Roscoe, go work with him, I'll be back in a half an hour.
Right. It's true. And it's actually, it's the reason that I got into dog training. Mm-hmm. I mean, I do love dogs, but I really love people. Mm-hmm. I enjoy working with different ages, types. It's not a one-size-fits-all. And so, yeah, it really is a matter of finding particular solutions that will fit with that particular person, mm-hmm. and what their lifestyle is and what their needs are and what do they need from their dogs. The woman I was describing with the barking and lunging dog, she has no problem with her dog jumping up on people. That's not an issue for her. Mm-hmm. Her main focus was, can I walk this dog safely? So, again, the dogs in my house are allowed on the furniture, but the rule is you can be up there. If you can go up if there's nobody on there already, mm-hmm. But if there's somebody up there, you have to be invited. And if I ask you to get off, you need to get off. But that's what works for me in my house. Mm-hmm. But it depends on the person.
Oh, that is interesting. Dog trainers are a special breed of sorts, and some of them are just phenomenal. They're people that, frankly, many a psychologist that works with humans should be. How can a person find a dog trainer in their area?
There are several different resources that are available. One is by going to the Association of Pet Dog Trainers website, which is www.apdT.com, and there's actually a trainer search on there. These are people who have said, I am willing to train dogs and do that in the most humane method possible. There are a lot of trainers that are on that site that are actually certified. So a certified pet dog trainer, KA, which is knowledge assessed, which means it's not somebody who's just hung a shingle out on their front porch and said, I'm now a dog trainer because I like dogs. They've gone through rigorous tests. They've gotten recommendations from their vets, from colleagues, from clients, and they continue to work on their education, and they need to get a certain amount of CEUs or continuing education units to maintain their certification. So my recommendation would be going to the APDT website and looking for a CPDT.
Okay, APDT website.
That's right.
Okay, and that is the Association of Pet Dog Trainers.
Right.
So in other words, you believe in credentials.
I do. I think this is one of the most important things to me as a dog training professional is to add some credibility to our profession, and I think there are a lot of people out there that have said, well, I really like dogs and I really love working with them, and I'm going to go out and give this a try. And there are those of us who really have a firm background in basic learning theory, animal learning theory, and really apply the science of it to our work.
Mm-hmm. It makes things more sure and a more steady way to proceed.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think people then know that really they are getting an expert.
Now, a question on behalf of UPS drivers, FedEx drivers, mail carriers, runners, walkers, bicyclists, and I found from personal experience when I was a passenger on a motorcycle, what do you do when you see something running towards you at great speed?
And it's a canine.
Or what don't you do?
Right. Well, I think the important thing to distinguish is if the dog is off leash or if the dog is on leash. I handle any off-leash dog, whether familiar or otherwise, the same way. And I do a lot of dog bite prevention seminars for school-age children. And the best motto is be a tree. So you stop, you plant your feet. They used to suggest holding your arms down in front of you and looking down at the ground. I've kind of tweaked that a little bit and said, go ahead and put your hands under your armpits and look up at the sky. I even encourage the younger kids to sing, Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star. And the main reason for singing is just to keep them breathing. Dogs really do know when you stop breathing and can know when you're nervous. So that's,
They psych you out.
They don't lay awake at night with their, twirling their dew claws together.
But it's in them.
I think what is in them is, dogs really communicate through body language.
Absolutely.
They don't use words. And so, for us, my looking directly into your eyes and leaning forward and extending my hand is something that's very acceptable and it's expected.
Mm-hmm.
For dogs, that's a really threatening stance and behavior, that direct eye contact, that leaning forward with your body. And so that's the suggestion for being a tree, is that you remove any eye contact, you take away any chance of actually touching, and really completely disengaging, which speaks very loud and clear.
You're trying to break any psychic bond that might have been formed there, and insofar as eyes are concerned, windows to the soul and all that, the dog picks up on that.
Absolutely.
Direct eye contact is seen as aggressive.
Correct.
Okay, so you're suggesting that the good UPS and the postal carrier and other individuals that find themselves in these situations physically and mentally try to remove themselves from the threat as much as possible.
Yeah, I would say to stop and wait, especially for children who are so prone to want to run and scream and run away from the dog, is to stop and wait for that dog to leave, first and foremost. And if for children, to go and find a trusted adult that they can turn to. But that's for dogs that are off-leash. For on-leash, I think everybody kind of has schooled their children and knows that you need to ask the owner first, can I please pet your dog? I think where we run into trouble is that most people don't wait for the answer. And so you could very well get the no. And the second mistake that I think people make is that you don't ask the dog. So you're asking the owner, but then, stopping and asking the dog, which of course you can't say, to them, excuse me, do you mind if I pet you? This goes back to using your body language. So extending, a hand, in a fist, just out, just to let them smell. And then, you can read their body language, the tail's up and high amplitude, tail wag, really soft, relaxed mouth, ears up and perky. That's a good read to okay, yes, I do want to be pet.
Okay.
And then you can turn the hand over and give a little scratch on the chest. I don't know any dog who likes being pat on the top of their head.
I know a fellow that used to raise a lot of champions, and he loves dogs, always had them. He's now 90-some, I think, and he has 2 dogs. He told me, and he had for a period of time Doberman Pinschers, and they were always very well-mannered, behaved, very sharp. And one even saved his daughter's life. And he said that he selects the dogs based on how they approach him, that if they're timid, he goes no further. He said they're like people who are timid. They can bite.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, especially when looking at a dog to adopt at a shelter, or just in general, you're looking for socially affiliated behaviors. You want them trying to get as much of their body in contact with yours in a socially appropriate way. Again, they really communicate using their body language. And it's important not to look at each individual piece, but the whole dog together. One big giant puzzle, if you will.
Well, you have certainly brought some very, very helpful hints here to the fore to our listeners, and some interesting perceptions. Again, people can contact you on your email at
Cheryl@positivelytrainable.com.
Okay. And telephone number?
It's 908-832-2294.
Okay, and that is Positively Trainable, and you're based in Califon, New Jersey, but you do travel. And I do know that you have a number of very satisfied clients. Dogs can bring an awful lot into people's lives, a lot of wonderful things, as your dog song said. And again, I thank you for bringing that, and I thank you for bringing yourself here. It was very, very helpful.
Great. Thank you so much, John, for having me.
Appreciate it.